Auf Wiedersehen.
Yep. They'll be like, what's going on? Why is everything wrong?
Start out with a threat or something
You
like.
know we are live right
Huh?
now.
Really?
Yes, we are
Aw.
literally live right now.
You sneak. You're lying.
I'm not lying.
Oh.
All right, so we've got a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, fellow WAYPNers. My name's Skidder, also known as Justin, and I'm loving this channel, loving these people, loving the group that we've got. I'm from the UK. I might sound a little bit Australian, or maybe even South African at some point, but trust me, I'm from Britain, so don't hate me for that.
We don't hate
And
you for that.
I've been warhammering, painting mainly. I used to play a lot of Epic 40,000, but I absolutely find this one of the most cathartic things you could get in life. It gives you a sense of achievement, and just love it. I just loved it since I was about 8 years old. So yeah,
What-
and I'm very, very old now. So
What have you thought of the new Epic re-release? What's it called? It's something copyrightable. I can't remember its name.
yeah, yeah, neither can I. I actually slid into the life, really, I suppose, without me knowing. I wasn't really paying much attention. I just thought that they'd brought out some, like, I don't know, an anniversary rhino, and someone had been painting them. But I've seen some of the work, and it just looks lovely. And it was, I suppose, the Titans, really, sort of like Adeptus Titanicus and Epic 40,000, and yeah, that's the kind of thing that would get me in there buying it. So, and I think they have released that, but I really like it. I really like it. I don't think I want to concentrate on that too much, because I think it's gonna take a lot of my time away if I start building an army and playing it too much.
Oh
I would
yeah.
never stop. So yeah, I've got to be sensible about it. I enjoy the painting. I think that'd be the first army I actually went for, other than a Deathwing Dark Angels army. I'd probably end up buying like Whirlwinds and Titans and Reavers, and oh, I'd love it. Loads of little Warhounds running around the table.
Speaking of which, you've been doing up some this week, so I guess we should actually get to the uh, the event itself. Legions is what it's called. Hey Watcher, hey Metroid Sax, how you doing? And let us kick it off with Alex Co. So let's take a look at this. All right, honey, you ready to read?
Okay. Be reading. Now, don't get me wrong. This paint job is rough, but it was bare gray resin 36 minutes ago, so I'm pretty chuffed, to be honest. A friend needed it for a D&D campaign on late notice. Yeah, and I saw that. That's insane. He's lying.
Well, you know, I think
agree.
it's pretty good effort for like late notice. Oh, late notice, you know, I know it's late notice, but do you think you could paint us a whole ship? Oh yeah,
It's so precise and well done.
It's brilliant. I love that wood grain. I love that
yeah,
that red as well.
the wood grain is quite nice. Look, I think if your goal is to get something painted as quickly as humanly possible, he's met his goal. I don't think that there's anything that we can really say about that, because, like, WavePan's all about meeting your goals, and if your goal is to get something painted as quickly as humanly possible, everything here is readable. You don't look at that and you're like, oh, what's that bit over there, or what's this up here, or what's that? Like, everything's readable. But we talk way too much, so Justin, give us your thoughts.
I think it's fantastic for the time frame. I really like that he's not overdone it in any areas really. I can see a lot of the model. I'm assuming the other side's the same. But you stick some flags on that, you stick some sails on it. The even coverage, I think, is really, really nice, and he's not obviously, I'm assuming there's going to be some highlights. I'm assuming there's going to be some detail work there, and I think that'll start to pick it out. But yeah, really even coverage, really good work. Love that got that brassy gold, and the red. I think it really spots out. So yeah, some nice white flags, or maybe a black and white, black with a white skull and crossbones. That's going to look
Yeah, for
dogs.
sure. Well, I think, like, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of commentary for you, Alex, because, like, you wanted it done quickly, you got it done quickly, and, like, there's nothing wrong with it. So
yeah,
you know,
looks too good.
Well, I don't think it looks too good. I think it looks spot on.
36 paint job.
Yes.
Too good to be true.
All right. So next up, we've got Jason Tate. Would you like to read that one out?
Okay. Thanks so much for the feedback on the stream. It was mentioned about the scale, so here's a comparison versus a Space Marine. Also shows some minor progress.
All right. So, unfortunately, I cannot see the minor progress for the life of me. Can you guys see what has changed on this guy here?
Yeah, no, I also was a bit confused from the previous.
Oh, it might be highlights on the horns.
I'd have to see the previous one.
And some highlights on the rosaries.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Well, so long as we got you here, Jason, what have you been thinking of Samurai Dwarf?
Love it. Yeah, I was questioning the scale. I couldn't really put it into context, but having a Primaris next to it, yeah, that's really impressive. I love the lighting, and the non-metallic work. That's really, really good. It's not. I think maybe I like the way that he's worked the blue, or they've worked the blue into the metal on the kind of tabard at the front, just below his.
Yeah. Yes,
and it kind of works in with that teal kind of blue color coming up to the top of the horns. Yeah, really impressive. Really like that, and the eyes. They look fierce. Yeah, not like googly eye. So
yeah, I praised him a fair bit about him managing to even get the eyes to look dead on straight at you.
Yeah, it's scale wise, it's going to be quite difficult, and with how recessed in they are, I'd be quite worried about getting paint all over the place. But yeah, I think he's done well on that. But I think we should move on. We've got James. Would you like to read out for James?
Yeah. So in one night, I ended up painting my evil robins for the upcoming board game Deceased.
Oh, okay. Very cute.
Yeah, and now I can get started on all the miniatures in my Marvel Zombies board game. I will be painting all the supers and bystanders individually, but the mob miniatures, I will try my hand at batch paint. Any tips will be taken on board. As you can tell, I have my project for the year, and I will be posting a lot of Marvel paint jobs going forward.
All right. Well, what do you think, Jason?
I'm liking it. I'm loving the red, green, and yellow. I mean, it's classic kind of colors, but yeah, I think there's a lot. I don't know if you use contrast paints there, or
I think
lots of washes.
Speed paints. Yeah, I think you're. I think you're spot on that.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot to do, but no, I really like that. I really do. I think maybe unless there's another stage to do, I think you could maybe pick up some highlights there and just glaze out. I wouldn't necessarily say go in with just the paint. So definitely what you want to stand out, so those like green gloves, green boots, maybe the hair as well, to bring your focus up to the face, because some of those faces look amazing, especially the one on the left there that's crouched down. So
yeah,
maybe just go for some, I know it's going to take time, but rather than just like one layer highlight of bring that contrast, maybe a few sort of like glazes of a thin down or medium down, rather than water, so you don't get that kind of washy look.
Yes,
that I always get.
Yeah, no, I think
just for the hair.
I think that you're spot on. It needs just a tiny bit extra work. What I think, right, is just a tiny step up might be just a nice purple wash, not a contrast paint, but a purple wash over the skin to give it more of that dead appearance. What do you think about that?
Or even like a yellow green.
We'll see. Like, I think like a yellow green would be bad here because it will take away from those green gloves.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
And maybe just like a when you were mentioning the gloves, so we talked before on the call about maybe more beginner friendly things, and I think maybe a dry brush of green, because I know that James is starting out in his painting journey, so maybe just go for that step and like not too much. Really, but yeah,
it'd be really good because it would give it that kind of texture effect as well, to a degree, because it's textiles. Whereas if you gave like a very light glaze or maybe a quite sharp white or greyish highlight or white highlight just on little bits of the hair, and then that purpley blue hue, maybe in a very thin down wash onto the skin. I think that'd be a really good touch finish for it, and black out the edge of the base as well. That'd really draw your eyes into the figure. So
I don't disagree. All right. So last time we ended up talking a lot in our discussion. So, Sunny, would you be willing to read this out?
Okay. I'm working on a COS human.
Come on, socks.
Come on, socks. Is that real? Or is that what you made up?
That's what I made it up.
Okay, good. I'm not.
Cities of Sigmar, apparently.
Oh, well, I prefer come on, socks. I'm not using one.
It's like that's a definite something that you find the teenagers ruminating. I'll keep it PG, but you know, I've got kids. So I know.
Oh no. I'm not using. Oh dear. My stomach is rebelling, Mr. Justin.
My apologies.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh yes, take a shot. Every time Henry wheezes, take a shot. That's a game.
No one will live if they do that.
Yeah,
they'll all
I didn't survive. I tried to play that game. It didn't work out. Oh honey, you're going to die before this review is over. Anyway, I should continue reading.
Yes.
I'm not using one model from that range. I am basing this army from my favorite series of books, The Black. It's a dark fantasy series with magic, sorcery, and good old strength of arm. It revolves around a mercenary group named, you guessed it, the Black Company. I'll be using models from Hedonites of Slaanesh, Lumineth Realm Lords, but mostly slaves to darkness. I don't play in tournaments, so I won't have to worry about those people, and my own group is excited to see and play the army. I will be posting pictures when I complete.
Well, I think that sounds really interesting, but I think what would have been really good for Rory to show is like some concept art.
Oh yeah, like some references or something.
Yeah. We always fear doing this. Should I try typing something, or should you try typing something?
I think there is more.
Yeah, I think Facebook for some reason just jams up the whole computer, just saying we'd love to see some reference images and and another post because we talked about it. Do you know this book series?
I don't know. I'm not really. It sounds really good though. It sounds like something I'd get into. I've obviously gone through most of the Horus Heresy stuff, Warhammer 40k, and a couple of the Eldar ones from a couple of authors. But no, it sounds really good. It reminds me of kind of when you talk about like mercenary groups. I don't know. For some reason, in the Black Company makes me think of sort of like a group of assassins and.
Or like the Lucifer Blacks?
Yeah, like back to Tenchu days, like like there's got to be like a Snake Eyes version of someone in there, like
Oh
ninja
yeah,
style, and
yeah, the good
you've got
old
to have the big brute as well, like he's not really an assassin, just like a sledgehammer that walks through people. So
the good old
sounds
GI Joe
interesting.
days.
Absolutely.
All right, so once again, we have another text post. Would you like to read out?
Hi all. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. I just have a quick question for the group. Which painting brand and or which paint set would you recommend for someone who is getting back into the hobby? A lot of my GW paints are, well, expired, to say the least. Thanks in advance.
Well, how about what we do is we just ask Justin your thoughts.
Um, yeah, I think I've got to be honest. I'm always honest, but I think GW is a good place to start because there are just so many tutorials out there.
Mm.
Especially when it comes to people like that. This is the colors I used, and this is the order I used them in, and this is how this is direction of brushstroke. I think I think Army Painter and Model Color Vallejo are a really good way to go. I know Army Painter are bringing out like a new series, but again, it's based around like GW's contrast paint. So I think if you want to learn to paint, or not learn to paint, but if you want to get back into painting, you can't go far wrong than Vallejo and Scale 75. I mean, Scale 75's a little bit more pricey. Vallejo, I think, is a
Well,
good price
you
range,
you
especially in the
might be
UK.
surprised. Do you know that Army Painter is now more expensive than Citadel paints?
Huh? Really?
Really?
Yep.
Did No, I haven't bought any AP for a while, so I am
Yes.
surprised actually.
So currently, I
Wow.
believe in Australia, so these are Australian prices, keep in mind, it's
Yeah.
$6.40 for a Citadel paint pot, right? It's
Yeah.
about the same for Scale 75. Um, and I think it's $7.50 for Army Painter.
Wow.
So like
Maybe that's I am surprised actually.
so was I, because the only reason that we know this is because we're redoing our video from starting from scratch. And like the the thing is that with that we took a look into some of the paint brands, and we're just like, all right, well, let's have a good old squiz. And I was like, wow, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they were like, but yeah, maybe we'll do a good old price comparison. So, Army Painter
That'd be good.
prices Australia, and
You
then
can't go far wrong. Can't go. It's. I think it's down to each individual. I mean, I
yeah,
know the
yeah,
Scale 75 is a really matte finish, so that would be a good place to start if you want to then use the Citadel ones to kind of like contrast up from that, especially with the base colors for the 75 stuff.
mm-hmm.
Gives a really good cut as well. It's got like a very different base. I think. I don't think it's so much. It's more gel kind of based. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
as you
That
put.
was the one thing that I noted in the write up that I did. So matte varnish is
Wow,
no different
that's
here.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's their. Okay, let's just find a standard. That's a speed paint. And these guys sell them for less because they're an online store, and online stores don't have the costs that model stores do. So here we
Yeah.
go. Scale 75 is 670. And let's see. That's a speed paint again. Grim Black. So yeah, is
Yeah,
$8.
that's a
Oh,
great
it's
one
a
actually.
speed paint
That's good.
again. They're all speed paint. Here we go. So this must be because it's an online store. But
Yeah.
yeah, so $6. So not that much more. Like
Okay.
less than a
Yeah,
dollar more, which is a bit
I'd
of.
say if you're getting back into it, then it's it. I like a lot of the Vallejo ones because it's like cold white. The naming for them is really good.
Yes,
I think what they
yes,
actually say it is really good.
that was one of the things. Like, I think that's so. I wanted to go to the thing, but we'll have to save that surprise for later. All right, but yeah, like that was exactly what I said in the thing that I'd typed up. I'm like, one of the biggest problems with GW paints is don't expect to talk to any friends outside of the hobby if you want to talk to them about painting. Oh, I just need some gut ripper flesh, and they're just like, okay, well, I guess I'm I'm not
Yeah.
coming over to your place anymore.
I need a bad curry green. Have you got that? No. Yeah. Yeah. Give me a UTI yellow. No, no UTI yellow.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
it's there's a lot of lovely names, but again, it's I think people are not so much scared, just a little bit like apprehensive about stepping outside of a GW. It's so well known,
yeah,
the colours
yeah,
are there. Like you said, it's very insulated. Like if you don't know it, you don't know. You don't know what an orc flesh or a bugman's glow is type thing. No one's got an idea, have they?
yeah,
You'd
yeah.
expect bugman's glow to be like some Necron green, but it isn't. But
No, no.
um,
What color do you think
yeah.
warp lightning is?
Oh well, I know, but I would expect it to be like a real sort of like high contrast blue of some sort,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
yeah. But it's a
Yeah,
green, so you wouldn't
it's a
expect
green,
that.
isn't it?
Um,
Nah, it's a bit off-putting, really.
uh, but have you tried the two? Is it called the two thin coats range? Yeah, I think it is the Duncan's one.
Yeah, I haven't. No, I haven't. I've watched a lot of Duncan's work and followed him for years, obviously, like most people, but I haven't really. No, I think you just get into again, it's kind of what technique you use as well, and what paints work well for you. So, and also what model kind of you're trying to paint and what you're trying to come up with.
Oh yeah.
But two notes, no, not tried it yet. No.
So I've only tried one of their paints. I did it off Brushstrokes recommendation. I was
Yeah.
up in Mackay, which is very far away from us, and they had a store, right? And I was like, all right, look, there's a stand there. Why not grab it? And their White Star White is the best white that I've used thus far inside hobbies. Like,
Really?
I'd say better than Scale 75 ones. Not by a
Really?
lot with Scale 75, but the difference between like Games Workshop and the two thin coat ones, day and night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Really? Oh, cool.
I think perhaps we
I have
should
to get that.
move on. All right. So Sonny had to step out for a second, so I will be reading this one. James Salisbury.
All right.
Step 1. Paint up the test model. Done. Step 2. Prime the rest of the troopers. I have a lot more work to do, but I'm posting these steps because it's not check out my finished work. It's what are you painting now? Rock on, James. Showing everyone where it starts and so showing so you can follow my progress. One trooper basically done. 34 more to go. Alright, well, we'll start off with you.
Nice. Yeah. I like the colours. I like the fact. Yeah. I like that grey.
The greys
I think
come
we
up.
could.
You go, sorry.
Yeah. Is that like I don't know, on the inside of the legs? I don't know if that's like maybe like a where it's been caught or something. A little bit of white in there. It needs a
Yeah,
bit more
yeah, I see
coverage.
what you're
But,
saying.
mm,
So I think James has fallen for the classic mistake of every beginning painter, which is just going straight white. So instead of going
yeah.
straight white, what you need to do, James, is go for more of a how could I say it? Like a very light grey. Um would you I'm just trying to You know the army painter range better than I do. What would Yulthwain grey be in their range? Like a very light sort of grey.
Yeah, it would probably. Oh, actually, I probably know Vallejo. I think there's a lot of like the German kind of greys would be a really good start as well. Some of the light German grey ones.
Well, let's
In
hope it has a
Vallejo.
generic name, and I'm just going to say ash grey. Try for ash grey.
Yeah,
But yeah,
there's a
and
lot of grey there, isn't there? And grey and white's really hard to put together. A lot of the Tau things, you'll see like a lot of Tau in Warhammer are painted, like you say, you got to start with the grey and highlight with the white,
mm,
because that's what's going to draw the eye. And I think the base as well. I know the base probably isn't done, but it looks like it's been painted, or they've got really good brush control to keep that white in place, or they've just not gone over the undercoat, possibly.
yeah,
So
that's what I'm guessing.
yeah, I think something to contrast the grey, because you definitely got grey base, grey body, and then you're going to have the white. But yeah, if you're going to go
Very
like a
monotone.
light grey and highlight white on the white areas, maybe go a little bit more dark on the grey. And yeah, it's a bit like that. The two colours that you look at on a block, and one is actually the same colour as the other. It's just it's highlighted differently, and the other one is shaded differently. So yeah, a nice deep kind of almost like a dark grey contrast ink, maybe, or a wash
Yeah, no,
on the bottom.
that might be a good idea, but I think if like this is going to be his base trooper, I think maybe
Yeah,
just go over it with that lighter grey and then highlight up,
yeah,
because just learn those steps and then just repeat them, because I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
exactly.
might be one of the things, because a lot of the time we have that sort of like this idea that we're going to repair one thing, but if this is going to be his base for the next 34
Mm,
troopers, we got to make sure that it'll actually be helpful for the next 34.
So is this meant to be
yeah,
like a concrete path or something?
Yeah, you and Justin have brought up the same thing, like that, like it's grey on grey on grey.
Yeah, I would say so. I think perhaps her shoes could be a bright yellow or something to create some level of contrast.
Maybe, but I think that's just sort of the color he's going for. So I think maybe some grasses and some browns. But
Yeah.
we'll, I think you're not wrong, guys. The base needs to be done and just some fixing up, but the grey does look very nice. So next
I
up,
like it.
all right. So I'm just gonna talk for a short period of time because I stuffed up. So these are two things that you guys should be used to: me stuffing up and me talking. So, apparently, Brushstroke posted this a while back, but I didn't notice it in our little bit over here. Apparently, it was tagged as spam. So, like, that's my bad.
That's a bit odd.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not tagged as spam, but the PS5 or whatever, and somebody
Yeah.
like I don't know, like, because he's a
He's a
long time
member.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's not only a
Established
member,
page.
and he's like posted many times, and it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna tag this, but not, please buy my PS7 or whatever.
Yeah. But Justin was very upset. He was very upset he couldn't get his PS5.
Yeah,
I remember these things. Third shot of the day.
yeah. It was. He
Yeah,
sent me a PS5 instead. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so next up, it's you.
Is it me?
No.
Oh, it's Justin. Yay. Justin.
Yes.
I must read. Okay. Isn't it the guest has to read their
Yeah,
own post?
the guest does have to read their own posts.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no privilege
Oh,
for you.
okay. Okay. All right. So I put this as progress as I start the glazing into the browner parts of the armor. I know people are going with the white look for Deathwing from the original images and artwork. I'm trying to go with a more true bone color, if I can, instead of too creamy like a lot can appear. Lots of work to do, and we'll be adding stippling and glazes of white to areas eventually. Comments and critique are encouraged and gratefully accepted, which they are. So yeah.
Did you see? I think it was Alex's one, recently.
Yes.
What did you think
Yes,
of
I
that?
did. Yeah, really liked it. I know a lot of original artwork was very white, like, you know, it was like the ash, the kind of lore behind it was the ash from the fires. They put on there already black armor. So yeah, but if you put, I like that look. I do like that look, but I think it detracts away because from a lot of the lore says bone armor, and I really liked what Alex did. I really liked the shading. It was spot on. It gave that kind of bony look, and I mean the way I paint is very slow. Number one, and I take a lot of time, but I glaze. I tend to glaze and layer a lot, and although that might give the end product a little bit of a texture, I really enjoy getting those deep sort of like changes in the armor tone, and I just thought I'd love to go for that with these.
So at the moment, you've got some very strong contrast between this right here and the bone
Yeah.
color. Are you blending it out, or what's the plan?
Yeah, I'm 2 down out of 6. I'm blending that out. So what I've then gone and done, that was a very heavy, well, it was very heavy, but it was thinned down. Contrast, actually, talking about contrast paints, I had some dark oath flesh. So I've I've used that
Oh,
at the
dark oak
base.
flesh. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and I've also got some Seraphius
Seraphon Sapia.
Seraphim.
That's
Yep.
the one. That's the one. And I've literally just started. I put another layer on there on that contrast line to blend in. And I've just started back with the Morghast bone, and transitioning that bit over, and it's coming on nice. It's a lot less harsh, and it's starting to look good. I think I've got one more pass on all the models to just blend that in. And then I'm good to start to look at details before I do the final highlights. So,
So the only thing I would say is it's a very strong contrast at the moment. Like, I'd say too strong. On the knee there, but on the hands, not nearly as strong, that level of contrast. Which,
I think because it does look a little bit more blended.
yeah. But I think, like, I certainly know some people would have already stopped at this point and been like, good enough. But I think,
yeah,
like, this looks quite good. It looks aged and worn here. So like,
yeah,
if you wanted to sort of keep that sort of grimy look around there, you could. But I do think that on the leg it's too much, but over here it's I'd say it's well on its way.
brilliant. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's kind of, I want that aged. I want that worn look.
It definitely
I
comes
know a lot of
through.
my definitely comes out quite crisp, and I like, you know, my previous Blood Angel with the chainsword.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
looks really good.
chainsword
Oh
damage was
yeah,
good.
I
and
really
I've
love the
got to
Blood
work on.
Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that blend. But this is the difference with this is, I suppose, is the only thing that I'm conscious of is I want the highlights to be zenithial from the top, and natural. And I'm going to stipple the highlights and then glaze the last final highlight. But I want that kind of worn look towards the bottom of the armor, the bottom edges of the big plates, and that bit on the back as well. I just thought, that would really highlight at the bottom, I suppose, from the light. But I thought it's got to mix in with the bone kind of look, like, so. Yeah, I'm happy with it at the minute, and I didn't get a chance to update the new photos, but yeah, I will do by the weekend. So.
Well,
Oh, are you doing this for just tabletop or like for playing, or is it a competition?
No, I want these. Well, I don't really. I suppose I don't really play with any of the models that I paint. I'm hoping my
you're
kids
not
will
that
one
different
day.
from us now. So what you just said.
Sort of as best as it can.
What you just said, he sure did. I really loved the different points of view. I think that was him talking about when you were talking about your blood angel and the and this guy right here. But I think we should move on. Okay, so this was just rather than reading out this text, I'm just going to say again that was about this post. But guys, please, if you're blocked, unless you're showing something inappropriate, and I mean, like, I think that everybody has an intelligent sensibility. I mean, even Joseph was like, you know what? I'll just put some WAYPN tags over these bits.
WAYPN shall protect your dignity, my friend.
And like, unless you're doing something like that or abusing people, we're not gonna like put your stuff in the bin. So if it says like it's come up as spam or something's up, just message us. We try and stay on top of things, and if we haven't noticed things, just comment in one of our posts and just say, you know, Henry or Sonny. Sonny's more likely to get it than I am.
Will you check the Facebook?
Yeah, but that's because I can't get it on my phone anymore.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a problem.
Yeah. We will get into that story another time. But basically, all I want to say is we're not going to like scrub you off for any reason. Like, that, totally my fault. I should have been more on the ball. But if you like help us help you, that's all I want to say. So yeah. All right. So next up, we've got Calvinoni.
12 more abysmal dwarves with hand cannons.
All right, abysmal. I think it's meant to be abyssal, but you know.
Oh, that's how he's.
I know that's what he said. All right, so Justin, your thoughts?
I really like this. Gives me the kind of terracotta army vibe.
It does.
It really does. Yeah, I love. There's a few differences in the in them. I don't know if that's intentional because I think the one in the middle looks a little bit different. But yeah, no, I love it. I love those like blunderbuss kind of weapons and the different, like, you know, brassy tone, and really like it. I'd be interested to know how he's done it, to be honest, with what paints and stuff.
I think it's
army painter,
the speed paints is their version of. But I still think that, you know, the skirts need another color. Like, I think like you can get away with everything else, but just have some sort of color contrasting. I do like these little bases, however, with like the sort of intricate patterning.
I think those are printed out. Base, like print out, and then he stuck them onto the base.
Yeah. Because I know that these will go into what are they? What are the rank and flank trays called?
Movement trays.
Yeah, movement trays. I know they'll go into movement trays, and like that might be. I think he was talking about.
I actually thought they were.
Yeah, go.
I actually thought they were coins, because like I mean,
the ridges
maybe
on the side.
he's used coins. Yeah, because of the weight, and I thought, oh, maybe that's what he's done. But like you say, yeah, they're probably printed, but I like him. But yeah, I agree. The only thing I'd probably think about there is you know, it's all very one color, or you know, and
we agree.
Want to draw your attention to something. Those massive cannons they're walking around with in their big old hands. Yeah, the cannons or the face, or like you said, maybe the tabard and different armor. Yeah, a spot color or some sort would be great.
Not too sure what the concept is behind the abyssal dwarves, but
basically evil dwarves.
I think the color scheme looks like it looks evil, but like you said, it's got to have something more. Like, they do look very samey. There's not much. It almost looks like he's blended a bunch of different colors together, and they look like a very fancy bronze statue, each of them.
Like Justin was saying with the terracotta army. But like, I think with that, I just think you just got to at least pick out one other thing.
Yeah.
You know, just one thing, like both I and Justin have been saying. Not Yeah.
Maybe for the eyes would be good. OSL on the
Oh,
eyes.
yeah, no,
and
that
Yeah,
could be
even if you
good.
just put like a white in the eye, it might
Yeah, like
help
their
with that.
and then
golem sort of
wash it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
what
something.
maybe like you said, little white in the eyes. Don't even have to be precise because you can just go over it with like a really light green or a light blue, give them that kind of glowing kind of eye look, and then maybe just a single white dot for the eye will give it enough contrast. That'd be great.
All right, and
Um,
yep, sorry. Yeah, okay.
No,
All right.
they look menacing with that. Yeah.
All right, so next up, we've got more from James. So James has absolutely been going to town. So would you like to read?
Back to work tomorrow, but I have been bust yesterday and today. Step 3, weapon batons done. Step 4, shoes and hair done. With most of the face done, but not finished.
Yeah, so I think very much I would just say the same thing that we've said before. You know, like the white is too white. Would you agree with that, Justin?
Yeah, seeing that stage progress as well, I
Yeah.
would say that what we said before is pretty much the same here. But they do look nice though. I've got to say that seeing them next to a spray can and in blue, and now seeing them all painted up, I
Yep.
see what kind of theme he's going for. It's really good.
You know, I realized what he should do if he was gonna have them sort of city street sort of thing, right? What could really help make them pop a bit is have it so that you've got your street whatever color, right? And maybe have some I'm trying to get some pure pigment powder and just sort of dust the underside of their legs to bring out all of the
grime and stuff.
yeah, and the recesses and all of that sort of thing. So like they've got these nice clean uniforms, but they've been out there in the muck and the dirt and all of that sort of thing. You know, give them that pop of color that way, maybe, or maybe even
possibly
blood effects.
Like a yellow, like you could always go for like as the bases are, wash them really dark, really thin down, like a dark black, like a black even, or a black grey, and then possibly a little bit of dry brush yellow just in like strips over in lines.
Oh
across
yeah,
it. So
yeah, like bitumen.
Oh.
Yeah. That would contrast really well with the grey and the white, and still give it that kind of urban feel, I suppose. Maybe even a couple of little bits of metal in there, little bits of rebar, or a big piece of rubble.
That sounds good.
You know?
All right. Well, Sonny, would you like to read out for us?
Andy Dickens says Sunday painting. Finished Boromir, last hero from Journeys in Earth, and 3 Shadow Men also done. And made it start on some orc taskmasters and pit goblins. Pleased with the progress and getting closer to finishing all the models for this. Nice.
I think that this Boromir here could be a sort of good example for James to look at for how to do whites. So you see, like this is a white cape, right? But white is the final color, and you know I think get that sort of idea. But as I say, I often talk too much. So Justin, your thoughts?
Love it. Really, really did enjoy seeing these because I think these are really hard models to paint. The LOTR stuff, Lord of the Rings. But I think is really captured like the greens and the difference, like just there that you've got in the taskmasters and the goblins and that. I think that really, really nice. I love that contrast, really deep. But Boromir really took it for me. I mean, I love the character Boromir anyway. He's fantastic. But that cape, like the brown in the back of the cape, that's like you say. He's worked really hard to layer that up and bring it up, and nice detailing, especially around the edge there. He's not overdone it with Boromir either. With the base, mud base, a little bit on his feet, nice bit of grass. I mean, I can't really pick out much on there that I don't like. I think that piece of grass just at the front. I think the only thing I would probably say is maybe that could be more to the side. I mean, there's always an angle that's perfect
Yeah,
for
the golden
models,
angle.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the golden angle. And I really like that, and I like that it kind of breaks up in a way. I like it and I don't like it in a way, but it breaks up the foreground. It gives it a little bit of contrast. Like you know he's going through that kind of that patchy ground with little bits of sprigs of, like, old grass and stuff, but maybe just a little bit smaller, so it comes down to his like mid shin rather than his knee. But yeah, no, love that. Really,
Yeah.
really like that.
I
Love that
call
green as well.
that ground the Scottish Highlands look.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It is Scottish.
I think you're right. I think it could do really good just behind his foot, like you were saying right there. And like these are the kinds of little details, because I think like I do believe that Andy is trying for like character level, because like you do not put this much effort into soft plastic models if you're not trying for character level. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
these are very difficult models because they're not even just like the smaller I think it's 20mm for Lord of the Rings Games Workshop, but like these ones scales are all over the place. But like I think he's really putting in his best effort. And just comments like what you said about that little tuft of grass being out of place, right? It's just little, like when you start growing as a painter, it's never like the great leaps like you had before. It's just that tiny bit, like, oh, okay, my composition could just be a bit better. Oh, okay, my highlightings could just be a tad bit better that way. You don't ever just go off in fits and bounds anymore. So
I think you're totally right. I think it's a lovely, really, really nice paint job, and I appreciate that, having looked at some of the Lord of the Rings stuff and thought to myself, nah, not going to try that.
yeah, you're not
Like
wrong.
that. Yeah, I'm 6 foot and 22 stone and built like a tank. So holding things like that, I probably feel like I was going to snap it
Yeah,
with my
yeah.
fingers. But yeah, really, really great work. I love that it's not too much. So it's just.
I would say the Lord of the Rings models is actually Andy's strongest painted models. Like,
I don't know.
they
I
always
think
seem to turn out
I
really,
think Sir
really
Yeats a
nicely.
lot is still one of his best models. You know, the guy with the parachute. No, he doesn't have parachute pants. What's his pants? The puffy
No,
pants.
the pumpkin pants.
The pumpkin pants, and like he's got the big oh, I've forgotten what those big puffy collars. Do you know what they're called?
Oh yeah, that weird tubular thing.
Like they're on like old nobility. They've got the big puffy collars. I think the
They're like a
Swiss
disc.
Guard still have them.
Oh yeah. That it looks like a what's his? Oh, I can't remember. So it's like a puffer jacket gone wrong, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
it looks like some sort of trimming that you'd find on a cake.
It
But yeah.
does look like that, yeah.
So anyway, let's go on to Ron. Would you like to read out?
Finished some more minis for Marvel Crisis Protocol, The Lizard, Mysterio, Rhino, and Carnage. I'm really liking.
Yes, I'm also liking Mysterio, but let's give it across to our guest.
I loved this. Really, really did. If that is not a marble in the head, then I'm massively jealous of what's going on with that. That is really, really nice work, and I think it almost looks like someone's dropped a marble in there. But that's really lovely. To get the greens different, but still keep the focus. To go green on the smoke and green on the character, but keep that focus on the character. I think the coppery kind of red almost to the cape it works really, really well. Like red and green's hard thing to pull off together.
I'm nodding a lot. I'm nodding a lot here.
Yeah, I just love it. I really, really love it, and it's offset on the base as well. So I just that helmet just reminds me of the Eldar helmets that you can spend a lot of time working on, and the way that the gloss is on there, I think that I definitely really like this.
Yeah, oh, actually, it looks like so it's clear UV resin after it was clear coated.
Wow,
So
that's what it is then. It's
yeah,
amazing that he's met. I would literally say that looks like the marbles I used to love as a kid.
yeah,
That is so well done. That swirl that he's got in there, and then the resin is what's giving it that huge gloss glow. I know I've glossed a lot of things in the past, and it really doesn't give as much of a shine as that. But that's top end work. Really like that.
But yeah, I also could not tell if that was just a gloss coat or if he's just dotted on some white in the
well,
right areas.
yeah. So it looks like the dot has come out in the exact right area. But I think what's more impressive is, like you were saying, Justin, the sort of swirl. Like the swirl really makes it. And it's just really nice. I think I just agree with everything that you say. So the only things that I would say is, like, I take a look at a lot of this, right? And there's nothing there in the character that I would improve, but I think there's a lot of pooling in the bricks here.
Yeah.
And I think, like, with this being so well done, like he's going for, I would say, character level, not going beyond that. Just, I think, like, if you just were a bit more tidy with that, it would make that look even better, because when you start going to the next level, it's about avoiding mistakes, and like this just looks so good that it's almost already at that next level. That makes sense. Am I making sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. All right, so
I think that pooling on the stones.
yeah.
That's lovely.
yeah.
I
All right.
really do enjoy Rogue and Ryan. I think Lizard Man came out quite nice, but yeah, like you said with the pooling, it did break the.
Yeah. So would you like to comment on this one, Justin, at all?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the only thing I would say here is I mean, I'm guilty of this all the time, and it's not like a mistake. I suppose it's I can be working on one model in a batch of 5, and it works great. I put the water in my wet palette, or I put it in my pod, and I'm great, and I'm working with it. I've got the mixture that I want. The shade goes on wicked, and I get into it, get to 3 models down, it starts to pool, or it starts to become a little bit more sticky, and that's what I find. So I think, that's really nice. But yeah, it looks like it's waiting for the next stage, like that highlight, or that blend out of those really deep recesses. But still, really nice color.
I just agree with everything you say. So how about Carnage?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, the pooling on the base, unless that's what he's going for, that real dark, grimy look. But I like this. It's going to sound like a stupid word. I mean, it's not tackiness, as in, oh, that's tacky. In the UK, you'd say like, oh, that's tacky, as in that's cheap or a knockoff or something. I like the sticky vibe that's going on with that black on that red.
Yeah, I understand what
kind
you're
saying. Of viscous, kind of gooey, kind of almost. But it's
organic.
I think if I touch that,
organic.
Yeah. Completely. So I think like that, the Mysterio marble as well. And I call it a marble. I think that's not me going, oh, someone's like, I think that's a high form of flattery when you create something that people look at and think that looks like something I know in real life. That's got to be, well, I'd take that as a compliment. Whoever's listening to this hopefully does. Ron, sorry. It's love those models. Really like those.
And I think finally we got the Rhino, and I think like the Rhino is the least impressive of all of them, but the reason I think it isn't due to the paint job. Like, it's not very exciting, but it's what you see in the comics. Like
Mm.
it's like, how can you make this all grey character look exciting? And it's like,
You don't.
yeah,
Well, I think he's at least
I think-
picked out these sort of recesses fairly nicely, which gives it a bit more character. And it's not just all grey. And I think the face really came out very nicely as well. The eye direction, very well done.
Well, yeah, I think, yeah, we'll save you from us, and we'll just say, we'll cop it. I don't think this is the best one amongst them, but I don't think that's Ron's fault. I just think it's the character.
I think
Or-
the only thing you should probably do to dynamize that a little bit would maybe be some damage, like he's been cut and there's some blood trickling out of some recesses,
yeah.
or maybe his toes and his fingernails were bone as well.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like you say, how do you? Well, a battleship, really, isn't it? It's grey, but it's I like it. I like what he's done with it. The face is great.
I think it's also because the base is pretty
Grey.
much grey as well. I think if you went for a white concrete,
It's the same as with James before. It's grey on grey, and
Yeah,
we're all greyed out up here. So let us move on to Paul Ewog.
a couple touch-ups remain, but current whip on the Planet Eater leaves the base coats pretty much done. AVGC 72.02. I think that's.
I'm not sure. Is that
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Thank you. Imperial Blue was used, thinned with Liquitex matte medium. Needed more coats than the purple sections, but pleased with the dark blue base. Touch-ups later tonight, and then onto. Might not glue this piece. Was thinking of adding magnets in torso, just for ease of.
Well, like, it is what he says. Like, the face is coming up, but he's getting the base coats done, and like, that's what this place is about. It's about showing off, as James said, your work's in progress. So, like, there's not much. Yeah, it's not much more you can say. But yeah, you go.
No, nice strong work, good colours. It's kept it even. It's a good, nice. Well, I don't know how many coats he's put on there. I don't know if he said, but yeah, nice coverage.
Yeah,
nice big coverage. Yeah.
Very smooth.
Really look forward to seeing that.
This is where you get hit by the text.
Uh-oh.
It's Joseph.
Joseph. My weekend's progress on Kingdom Death. There are 3 different colors of bones. Tonight I hope to work on the reds. There are some belts and straps I need to pick a color for. Do I go standard leather, more of a tan color, a green, brown, black, or something? Opinions bless. I'd add a poll, but it won't let me. I also got 4 more shelves from my Detolf, as I was running out of room for everything.
So I think Detolf is a glass cabinet from who's Sweden extraordinaire, the one
IKEA?
Yeah. It's not IKEA.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is IKEA. Yeah, not IKEA.
Sorry.
That's what she keeps saying. She keeps
That's
saying
just how we say it in Singapore. Answer this IKEA.
IKEA. It's IKEA. That makes me think like,
It does. I hear it now that you've mentioned. But yes.
All right. So, Justin, we'll let you go first. And we'll avoid saying the words from the magic shop before the furniture starts floating.
No. Oh, look at that. That's what I need in my life. A nice cabinet like that to put my stuff in. I don't have much. Probably about like 1 shelf, but.
Well, you can go to IKEA and get a shelf for yourself.
Okay. Don't tease me, honey.
Really, really, really like those bones. That scythe on the model on the left. Oh, that's
Oh yeah.
yeah. That's the difference, isn't it, between letting it pull and getting that deep kind of contrast. And I think with the highlight working that out, it's going to be difficult with the kind of bone on bone. Really, I suppose.
Yeah. But that is.
But I really love it.
Is that what it is? Is it meant to be like all bone scythe?
Yeah, I think it is, and like it's one of the problems. Like he was saying back here, right? He's like, all right, there's some belts, some straps. What do I do? Like I've got leather, but like what should I do? For me, I'd go a green brown because you've got that very like red cloth, and
Yeah.
that would contrast well against it. I think he's going really well. Obviously, he's not finished the red yet, but I think that is essentially one of the problems of Kingdom Death. It's like
Mm.
there was this one guy who um sent a description to me of how he would like his D&D character painted, and he's like, oh, this guy's the blackest black, and he's all black, and he's got a black cape and a black, and everything was black, and I could hear My Chemical Romance playing in the background as I was reading through the description, and I just said, I just sort of sent back, and I went, like, this might all sound great as a description, but it's like I just basically prime it black and give you the model.
Yay!
And like I basically said, would you like me to make this like maybe a dark grey? And yeah,
Love it.
I think that that's essentially the problem of Kingdom Death, when everything is bone and everything is flesh and everything is horrible. You can't quite have that level of contrast.
But I think, like Justin said, it really popped. Like, I mean, he managed to give a nice distinction.
Yeah, he did. But
Yeah.
I think it just
I think
makes it so
the only
difficult.
other thing the only other thing I could probably add there is there's a lot of talk about the color rather than the texture. So with leather, a lot of you can make it look quite beaten with maybe some stippling and some kind of damaged stripes and things like that. And with the bone there, I would really, again, you could stipple the handle on the highlights to give it that different texture, that different look, but really go for a smooth blend with no stippling on the actual blade. I think that would really work, and maybe
That's
just the edges
really
of
good.
those.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like that is something that we talk about when you can't differentiate through color, do a difference of kind. So
Yeah.
you're spot on there, Justin. So I think very good advice. All right, and we had some new people, and I was very late on that day, but yeah, and I always love to see the new. Like when I first read that one, I sat down for so long, and I was like, KTBW.
What
And
is that?
Yeah.
In 6 bars with water, something like that. Yeah.
I'm like, it was like you say something like that we say all the time, and I was just looking at it like you were throwing up gang signs, and I'm like, what does this mean? There's some sort of.
I didn't know that when Justin first used it long ago, and then he had to explain to me to keep those brushes. But I'm like, yeah. So old, man. Oh god. And I never forget it ever since. I was like, oh, such shame, such shame.
All right. Speaking of such shame, we'll have to shame Genuine Vision,
who does not like us because he did not add his own description to this post. Okay.
All right, you want to read out his description,
I don't know
not his post.
How do I?
Yeah, no,
Where
it's
is
not here. It's not here.
Made a start on the Nordic gnome that is Bjorn from the Rune Fated, or the Moonstone the Game from Goblin King Games. In work is nearly done, just a wee bit of tweaking and reworking on one arm. Loving this mini already. Totally gives me some warm asterisk and obelix feels.
All right, so Justin, your thoughts?
Love it. I can't say there's been much that has been pumped out by this awesome artist that I didn't like. Really, I really can't. I just find it contrast and the colors, the secondary colors, like that bounce color that you get from like the green that's in there, and then the pinks at the edge of the kind of the peripheries of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes them look full of life rather than like, you know, you get that kind of. I really love that when it comes to skin work and flesh work. Like it's got, you try and make it look alive, and you don't really get that when you just tone up from, say, you know, one flesh color to another. I think you've really got to use washes and glazes to get that deepness. And yeah, really like this. But I'm looking forward to this one. Looking forward to the woodwork as well. So I know a lot of like the woodwork that's done with January Vision is just lovely stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
like how this is coming on.
He like that birch tree he did. I was like, I couldn't believe that he even painted it at one point. I'm like, what? That isn't just a stick from the thing, like, because it looked like a birch tree. And like the thing is, when you've got that sort of connection to nature like we do outside, where you like see the trees all the time, it's like how people are with skin. You know, if you've got that familiarity, you expect to be able to see the sort of fault, so to speak. But it was just so spot on. But you're not wrong. It is the secondary characteristics of the colors, like the greens, like you said, that really give it quite a bit of bounce, you know, that make it feel alive.
Yeah. I think that's something that we learn even in 2D illustrative art when building characters. That sublayer scattering of the blood showing through when the light hits through the skin, the thinner parts of your skin, the blood shows through, and that really adds life to the character. And I think he's very good at doing that. And I think some of the our, like, you know, the competition / display level painters that we've got on here, they're very, you know, I guess I can't say famous, but it's something that they do very commonly, is that they have that sort of dual tone coloring, where you have a different shadow color, you've got a different highlight color that complements each other. Yeah,
I 100% agree with both of you. So let us move on. Next up, we got Lance Davenport.
Working on this one, slow work for my weary eyes and hands.
Well, look, I think Lance did really well last year. How many did he say he wanted to get? 1,000 minis painted?
No, he said 100 minis.
100 minis painted. And like, it looks like it's just in the base stages at the moment, but like, that's what it's about. About, you know, getting there, getting stuff done. Would you like to add anything, Justin?
Yeah, I really like the yellows. I mean, I can tell there's a little difference between like the cream like trousers, but again, I think this is I don't know how size wise this is. I don't know how big it is because it's very, very small, isn't it? And you know, weary eyes and hands as well. But I think it's nice. I really like it. I like the kind of almost browny kind of orange that's within the robes. I think that gives the yellow a different look, because yellows can kind of become a little bit too bright.
Yes, you're not
at
wrong.
times, and turn into like a whitey kind of cream.
You know,
and it almost looks like parts.
The biggest problem I've had with having you on is that I nod a lot while you're talking, and like obviously you can't see me, and like no one else can see me. We're just looking at the pictures, so it's not very useful. So let's move on.
Justin's already pointing out all the facts.
Yeah. Well, like it's true, like because when it's What was that saying? All good families are similar, but all bad families are unique in their own way.
Is it?
I think that was. I
think.
Yeah, no, I think it was. It's not good and bad families, but I think it's all happy families or something like that. All happy families are similar, but all unhappy families are unhappy each in their own way, or something like that.
Really?
I can't remember who said that, but it was a very sort of famous quote. Yeah, so I think it's like all good advice is similar in its own way, you know.
Mhm.
All bad advice is uniquely bad.
Have
Right.
you tried painting with the hammer?
All right, well you can read now.
What do you think? Am I going too bright with the highlight on the skin? I'm just a bit concerned that the contrast is too strong in the deepest areas, especially. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think so.
But I feel like once it's sort of blended out, it'll be fine.
No, like I kind of like, well, maybe not right here, but everywhere else I think it looks really good. But once again, we will throw to our guest.
I really like this. I love that it's stippling. It really looks like they've stippled that, or really finely dry brushed it. Yeah, I love it. I think I actually would go the other way. I would actually go and say, if you're going to do anything to that skin, you get a dark blue wash, and just kind of like at the bottom of the knees and maybe towards the belly, kind of just blend it a little, not even blend, just glaze a dark blue, or a darker blue, just around those kind of knobbly bits there, and like the lower recess parts, even it, and around the belly and the bottom of the tail. I think if you're worried that you've gone too bright on the top, I actually think that might make it give it a little bit more pop. But it's got loads of pop. I love that work. I love that brush work, and those teeth and the mouth. Oh, can't wait to see that completely done.
You can
I
already
think it's
see
really,
the
really good.
direction that it's going in.
Yeah, and see, I think this is one of the things that I really like about WAYPN compared to some other places. Like, I'm trying to remember. It's a really nice place. But
The dungeons and
no, not the Dungeons and Lasers one.
the one with all the fantastic painters.
Heavy Metaler.
Heavier metal.
Heavier Metal. Like, it's a really nice group, and as far as I can tell, everybody is, nice as pie, but like you always see just the finished product, and it's just like, oh, how depressing would that be? You're working on your one, showcase level model for like 6 months, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna get all of this attention for like a day, and then like nothing forever.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like with all of this, you guys see just how much work something is, and like it makes you feel better when you're sort of like getting nowhere, as we're about to see with me. So I think that's a good segue into this. It's Terrain Tuesday. These things seem endless, but I finally finished off all of the short walls with pillars. Now I'm on to the long walls. And I have never hated skulls and electrical cabling since my imaginary job as an engineer in Paris's underground. But seriously, too many wires and skulls for me. Paint for me. That is to say, you should be painting. Tomorrow is Whip Wednesday. Where the heck did the week go? Where did my days go? Alright, guys, keep those brushes wet. So, Justin, this one's all yours.
This I love. I've not just because you've really appreciate being invited on here. But yeah, I love this. But I really can see why you're done with skulls and electrical conduits now. It's like you painted an entire Space Hulk all yourself, and that's what pings into my head here. I'm loving the Terminators, loving Space Hulk, loving all of that. This has got me like drooling, like really love it. Yeah, it really has, because I can just picture like Terminators stomping down these corridors, and you know the you know just the vastness of like corridor after door after corridor. I do not envy you having to sit there and do all of these.
No,
Oh
it's
man, but I love the damage work and the grime, like that one on
yeah.
the left there.
This one, yeah.
That yeah, that's one of my favorite looks. That kind of I don't know if you sponged it,
We did
or
sponge.
what,
Well,
but
so I'll explain the process. So what we did was, first off, we put a steel on, right, and then
Mhm.
after the steel, we did a rust effect, and then what we did was we masked off areas. So, for example, over here you can see we actually masked off all those holes, but on this one, not as much. And then
Yeah.
we sponged on mask, and we do
Oh,
and then we do the first coat, which is the darker beige. So you can see, I'll have to zoom in a bit for it to come out as much. But you'll see in here,
I think the right.
it will, but I was trying to show here. So you can see some of the darker beige in there, like there, and up here. You can see some of the darker beige. Oh yeah, no, all along here until the bright beige there. So we sponged that on, and then we sponged. So after the next spray, we sponged on top of that spray, and then after that, we scrubbed all of it away, so that it's actually properly rusted, and the paint's properly coming off, because it is literally peeling off.
I love it. I actually recently moved some old racking, some old sort of like industrial racking out of a garage at my ex's house. And it was painted cream
Yep.
and brown, ironically. And yeah, this is exactly how the metal looks, and it's been in the garage for years, and I love it. I love that chipped effect. I think that's why that one stands out for me so much, because you expect it, got all that moisture and
Yep.
all that paint and all those layers, and it's very, having spent like a decade in the military as well, it's exactly what a lot of military things look like. You know,
Yeah.
they've been covered in
Yeah.
12 layers of paint, and it's now chipping.
Yeah.
So
That's why what we called it was beige dystopian future.
love it. Yeah, it's awesome. I really like that. I really like that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that somebody else does. But now for something that people didn't like as much. So apparently, best game, good old Bob Ross as the thumbnail didn't even save us. But yeah, so we talked a bit about Frostgrave and Stargrave and how it was a game for painters, because as you were saying, Justin, you know, like you've got some quite nicely painted models, but you don't play that much anymore, do you?
Yeah, no, not at all. I thought I've had a couple of skirmishes with uh a small kill team that I had for a while, but that's it. Yeah, don't play that much.
Did you say
Paint all the
Arsenal
time.
kill team? As in like the football team?
Oh no, no, no. What was it? What did I say? Is it Death Watch?
Okay, yeah, no, because I thought you said
yeah,
Arsenal kill team, and I was like,
Whoa!
you've got a football team
I
as a
haven't had
kill team?
since.
Killer
Oh no,
footballs.
I'm not a gooner. I'm not a gooner. Ooh, don't like gunners. My ex came from North
Oh
London.
man,
She was a gooner.
all you British guys are so get into your football. Man, I love it.
Oh, do you guys call it football or soccer? When is it?
Well,
No, don't call it football.
I'm gonna get abuse off people if it gets called soccer, but yeah, it's football over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, use your foot to kick it, not your hand to pick it up. So yeah, I'll say the Americans got that the wrong way around.
Oh,
I think
that
it was
is
actually,
true.
I think somewhere it was originally called soccer, but nah, we call it football. It's
Yeah,
football.
no, I played it as a kid, and like I used to play futsal, but yeah, I think we're getting a little off track.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ron. You want to read out, Ron?
2 more Marvel Crisis Protocol minis done. Green Goblin and Craven.
All right. Would you like to give your feedback, Justin?
I love Craven. Yeah, I really love Craven. I like that work on his kind of leopard print kind of legs.
Yes.
Really dynamic pose. I love. This is what I love about some of the sort of like outside of GW kind of
Yeah,
stuff
very
that you
dynamic
get.
posing.
Yeah, really like that. I like the skin tone as well. Really dark skin tone. Yeah, difficult with the base because obviously geographically where he's going to be out in the woods, out in the jungle, and that.
Well, I'm
He's
I'm
got to kind
gonna
of blend in. So
I'll jump on the grenade for you, and I'll just say I think that the stick's a little off. I think that the stick, like it's too similar in color to him.
I don't think it's the color for me. The it's more the texture because of the contrast paint and the pooling. It looks like polished wood rather than wood in the nature where it's got a matte, it's dry, it's got grain.
Well, all deadwood looks very similar, and it's much more grayish in color, and it doesn't have that sort of richness of color. So I think like if you just had to put like a maybe just a neutral gray and dry brushed it, and then like given it a brown and maybe a green wash, it'd come out. But I think especially with that yellow contrasting with his sort of beige colored clothing, it makes it all just sort of like, look at all of this yellow, and you're just sort of like, oh, my eyes are tired.
Well, yellow is the hardest color for us to see.
I know. All right, but let us move on to the meme's favorite, good old Green Goblin. What do you reckon, Justin?
Yeah, I really like this. Again, another the pose is just I might have to actually look at getting this. Similar thing with the base. Really like what he's done with the smoke coming up.
Yeah, I'd agree with
kind
that.
of. It doesn't. Yeah, it makes it feel like one thing. But yeah, like it. Similar thing with the pooling with the lizard guy as well.
Yeah,
I've
with the
obviously
base.
called him the wrong thing. Yeah, but I think the eyes. I can't really see the eyes from here, to be honest, very well. But yeah. Oh, he's caught the eyes. Yeah, that kind of yellowy glow. Yeah, now I can see it. That's hard to get. Yeah, it's hard to do. But
I think
that kind of shows off the pooling a little bit more. So
yeah, I think this one is not the Mysterio, but I tell you what, the way that smoke looks is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's just got such, I don't know how to put it exactly, but it's just got such if like you were saying before, it feels alive. It doesn't, like, how there's that sort of generic smoke look where it's grey and such, right? This feels much more comic booky, much more cartoony, much more alive.
More passion.
Yeah, more passion, more energy.
Yes.
But yeah, I love it.
Also, I think if anyone is still in the chat and you guys are still watching, please comment so that you guys can tell us your thoughts as well. So we can read it out and let your opinions be known.
Alright, would you like to read out for us?
Luck for Kingdom Death. I really should stop using the Ammo MIG crystal paint. Actual. They're fine over flat surfaces, but they will not coat corners and edges, needing too many coats, which ruins the effect. One more Christmas.
Alright, well, give us your thoughts, Justin.
I really like this actually. I think it's really hard to get that OSL look. I really do, and I think maybe a little bit softer with the OSL, just on the inside of the leg,
right here.
There, yeah, maybe a little bit softer there, and on the outside. I think that it's I don't know. It's a little bit too orange. Maybe I'll just try and dial that down and blend it in a little bit more. But no, I think they've done really well with the cape. It's almost like a camo look to it.
Almost khaki green.
Olive green.
Well, yeah, no,
Yes, yeah,
maybe it's too light for olive. I think like it's too desaturated for
Well,
olive as well.
this is a more like, yeah, like khaki and olive green is
Like
pretty
it's an
much.
a light army green. You know.
yeah, yeah. Um, the base here is very similar to the Boromir one as well. I think they've done really well here. They've kept it simple.
Mm,
A little bit of rock in the back, and they've put those tufts of grass in the right place because if you were walking over ground like that, you wouldn't really want to be stepping on the grass. You'd try to walk between it. But the only thing one thing I really would say is that crystal at the top. Yeah, I think a lighter color, maybe a little bit lighter,
well,
because it looks like the belt is lighter than the crystal.
well, you're not wrong. I
Uh,
think I think the issue is, as you said, he's gotten into old habits, and I think that's
yeah.
both Joseph's best thing and worst thing. Like, you take a look at a lot of his work. A lot of his work is just so solid. Like, and the number of minis he spits out a week, like,
Oh my god, yeah,
yeah, he is my
phenomenal.
hobby hero. Like, forget Duncan Rhodes, forget Peachy. Like, he's my hobby hero because he's just like, you know, he's just that working 9 to 5, gotta make a living, and just gets home and just bam, just smashes them out, and I'm like, jeez,
Smashes them out, yeah. Yeah,
uh,
I gotta say, like, I couldn't get that level of quality work, and that number of models out in the time that
yeah, yeah,
Joe
yeah,
seems to come out, like, always on here. I always see a post from him.
yeah.
So, but I love his work, really, really do. So,
Yeah. I'm still gonna give him curry over the googly eyes though. But like no googly eyes here because he's got the bandage. But I do think, yeah, just try just doing the crystals just with traditional paints because I think like they'll just come up a lot better. But I want to take a look at the reference card because I think with this here. I reckon
mm,
for once in Kingdom Death's entire existence, don't you reckon these would have looked better as like fleshy fingers instead of as steel? Because like
ooh, yeah. That-
contrast well
Yeah, that would
against
have
the
been,
green and everything. But yeah, like I'm not giving him anything for it because he's just following the card. But like we were just talking
yeah.
about how it's all bone on bone and flesh on flesh and everything. At the one time that they choose to use colors, they're like, no, we won't use our
I know.
creepy flesh stuff anymore. All right, well,
Yeah.
it's more from me. So should I read it out? I should.
Yes.
Okay, it's Whip Wednesday. All right, this was a very special request, and I had somebody reach out to me and say that when they tried to visit these places that they couldn't vote, or rather leave a like they just couldn't get there. So I don't know. Um, all right, everyone. Very special request at everyone. You know I don't at you all often, so I'm doing this for a reason. Community is shown through action, so I'm asking each of you to rally for something, to vote in our local competition at a store. However, this was done in secret, so you have no idea whose entry is whose, but more importantly, I want you to vote for the young bloods and beginners areas. Why? Why are you interfering? No, it's because rather than read out, I'm just gonna basically go it off this, right? A lot of people feel discouraged when they come into this hobby. Believe it or not, you guys know Brushstroke. Brushstroke
Yeah.
started out on WAYPN before he was doing videos, and he didn't know whether he was any good or not. Brushstroke didn't know if he was any good or not.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
shocking.
That was on another website, in another time. I think that was like almost 7 years ago now.
How would I know, honey? I
Uh,
wasn't here.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll just blame you anyway. Um,
Your fault.
yeah, all right. So like, but the thing is, a lot of people come in and like they're just like, "Oh, give it a go." I don't know, and like so many people are down on themselves these days, and just receiving just the tiniest bit of encouragement can really make somebody's day. So, yeah. But we are here to talk about WAYPN. So, Justin, judge me. Judge me harshly.
Judge you harshly.
Likes the pain.
Never really liked industrial look. I like the natural. Sorry, man. Yeah, it's all too beige. It's very Magnolia. No.
But what about this one? It's got an accent door.
Yeah, but you've seen one door, you've seen them all, really. I mean, he's obviously sneezed some teal on that one to give it some colour, but
yeah.
You're like the ultimate bad client. I didn't like that.
I really like these. These are all going a similar way with rust and damage and the age look that we were talking about earlier. I genuinely think if you were to, again, it's looking at progress, isn't it? It's each time you do this, the next one you just improve a little bit on it, and you improve a little bit on it. Be interesting actually when you do batches like this. It's a bit like painting minis, like in groups. Like I know that the initial mini with the assault cannon that I'm doing at the minute, he is a lot darker and harsher on the transitions than my newer ones that I've been painting, because again, even though you think you're just getting through one to another, and they're all going to be the same because you're painting a batch at a time.
Yeah,
you improve even just going through one model to the next, and you get into your flow. But no, I love this. Really, really love this work. I just think
I'm really glad.
So good. So good.
Well, like this is all of these ones are the newer ones. So like you saw some of the rusted ones before, where you can see like the comparison between the rusted and the not rusted ones. But apparently we have confirmation. All right, we've got to go back to the news desk, and according to an inside source, it was exactly 36 minutes that ship was painted in. He's not lying.
There you go.
Called me out.
That's impressive.
Impressive. All right. So next up, we've got. Do you know we've got a celebrity on here? We got Will Smith.
Look at him.
All right. Well, how about
totally the guy that we're all thinking about?
He's
totally.
You got to keep those Zinch flyers out of your damn mouth.
Wait, hold on. Can't Zinch people shapeshift?
Out of your mouth.
You read. Dying.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes. All right.
Okay. I love my Zinch. God, I want more acolytes. Well, I'm sorry, Will. God will not provide you more demons.
Well, that is a strange request. God, can you please give me some more demons? Yes. There's him there looking around like, what? Excuse me.
Get some help.
I like it. I really. I just love the kind of purple to blue, kind of look
with the flies. Yeah.
I want to share.
Yeah. Really.
Oh yes, Sunny wants to share.
Looking at this. Looking at this, right, Justin? Those Paradise Island resort retreats where you've got the sandbar, and then within the sandbar, the water moves from like a aqua blue to a nice dark blue in the middle.
Yeah.
It looks like that. Like if this was the warp, the pink sandbar, and then you've got the lagoon in the middle. It looks like that.
If I go to a luxury resort and these things start popping out, I'm going to complain to the management. I'm just letting everybody know.
This is the feature of the resort, honey. People, look at him. You don't find this anywhere else.
He's responsible for the death of Steve Irwin. I'm never going to forgive him.
But yeah, I just
Jesus, look
wanted
at the
to say.
tile on it. Jeez.
But yeah, no, I
He
think
does
that
look happy.
I think that they're looking great. But I think that he's really spot on with like that theme of change. But I do think that there's some pooling around on this quite scaly one over here, where it's got the more chunky scales. But I think like with the less chunky scales, it's come up a lot better. Like there is a tiny bit of pooling in here, but it works.
Yeah.
Because it gives like that nice shadowing. But here, I don't think it works as well.
I would disagree because like sometimes with scales, they do look brighter around the edges and then dark in the. So I think adds to the.
All right. Yeah, no, this is a place where people are meant to have opinions. I mean, I was
that green kind of hue towards the base of the bones as well in the middle. I like that's there. It's gone sort of like pink to blue to green, and then into that kind.
Yeah.
I like a lagoon.
All right. And then we got these flamers, I think they're called.
The exalted flamer of Zinch.
No, these aren't exalted. These are just the regular flamers. Do you know what their name is? Everything is named something stupid in 40k, isn't it?
Oh, look, honey, it's your Pillaman.
It is my Pillaman, but they're off to the side. We're looking at the flamers right now. So,
never seen them actually, to be honest. I've seen the acolytes and the rays, but I've never seen those.
Well, let me.
Weird.
Flamers of Zinch. Well, so that's how they usually look.
There these.
Let's see. Get a decent image. No, it will always come up on the side where we have the bar. Excellent.
Ta-da!
So it's most probably covered half by there. So that's how they usually look. And here is how Will has done them. I actually like... the execution is a little off, but maybe that's just because of the base at the moment. Like, once the base is done, maybe I'll say differently. But I actually like the theory that's shown here. You know, like, Zinch's change, and, like, you look at these things, and you've got this feeling that they're always changing. Like, that they're sort of shifting in and out. Whereas these ones over here feel very sort of...
too consistent.
Yeah. So I actually like the style better than the GW stuff. But I think once we see the bases on them, that'll be the big thing. Yeah. And finally, we've got up the Pillamen, and we all know how I feel about the Pillamen.
Yeah. That's how you sing the song, right? That's how you sing the song, right?
Yep. Definitely.
Yes.
I don't know how good a singer he really is.
Well, look.
Let's hear it. Let's hear a bit of... what was that song? You just made me a Vegemite sandwich.
Oh,
yeah. My God.
I come from the land down under. Yeah.
My favorite part is the flute.
Yeah, the flute. Oh, I can't believe... Do you know they got sued for that little flute solo?
How could you...
No.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Work, wasn't it?
Apparently, like, some insane judge thought that it was similar to, like, some Girl Scout ditty from, like, the 60s or something.
It's a girl.
I don't know. Look, I'm just reporting the facts. The world is crazy. Please don't blame me for the craziness of the world. I'm just telling you how it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I do love these. The flash work's really good.
All right, so you like these guys? Yeah, so I think that he's very much gone for like that changing theme. I feel like that some of these skin tones really could be brought up with some highlights, But other than that, like, nothing wrong with them. You know, they're all doing what they're meant to be doing. But I do feel like these should be like steel colored instead of like this neutral grey.
Maybe he hasn't painted.
You know what? You might be right on that one. So, speaking of, let us move on. Oh no!
Oh no! Wrong location.
Wrong number. The
Wrong number. Yes.
Ah!
Oh, who is this? Who is this?
All right.
I don't know this.
Oh,
person.
it's me then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to read?
Yeah, so first pass done on shading. So that was the end of the shading. Or not the end of the shading. I've completed the next level of shading now, so that's on all of them. Another layer to do, then final shading, come back with some black thin down with medium. Then it's time to smooth out those mid-tone transitions. Progress is slow, but I do love the Deathwing. Yeah, you can yeah, I'll use my laptop to get it up to the light there, but I wanted to show all of them. Again, you can see like it's quite harsh lines where I've shaded. A lot different to that kind of assault one there. It's very dark on the assault cannon marine, but a little bit lighter on the other ones. I changed again, like I said earlier, just changed it a little bit. And it's not as harsh like on the legs there as it was on the other one. So although it is a little bit, it's kind of first pass.
I do think that your other legs look a lot better than the assault cannon guy, as you were saying. I think, here you can do a direct comparison. So here's assault cannon guy, here's the other guy, and just like that forward leg versus this forward leg, like it's so different. You know, and I think like this looks so nice. Like this looks much more like what you were describing before, how you wanted that aged look.
It does look very aged, yeah, very grimy.
Yeah. Whereas I think the assault cannon one, as you were saying, is a bit harsh. But I mean, like that's the thing, you know, we gotta take our licks where we get them, and like the thing is, it's work in progress. You're certainly working on it, so I think that's the good thing. But I tell you what, those hands have come up so much more now. They look so much more aged here.
Oh yeah.
There is a bit of light bouncing off them in the photo, but you can sort of tell in other parts where like it's got that much more sort of almost coffee stained paper look.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're a bit run through. Know what I'm saying? Oh
Really
no, somebody's commenting on our singing.
The
Kookaburra in the old gum tree was the song that
I always
was
sing that song.
which was apparently copied.
Are you serious?
They were told that they copied it from that song. But like honestly, like I don't give a stuff like the thing is a tiny flute solo in there, right? And they're like, I don't know where that came from. And like somebody's like, oh, Kookaburra in the old gum tree, you gotta pay us a couple million. It's like, how about you go and get stuffed, mate? But
Just
you know,
money grabbing.
people do like sort of renditions or sort of remixes.
oh man, the music industry is stuffed. Let's hope that the miniature industry never goes that way.
Kookaburra sit on the old gum tree.
This is the woman who's given me curry about singing, and like I never sing, but okay.
Yeah, you do sometimes.
Yeah, you do sometimes. Okay, all right, fair enough. You do your reading, woman.
The Mage Survivor from Echoes of Death 4 for Kingdom Death. That's the last of my Christmas. Let me say, I think this Mage Survivor looks more like a survivor in the way that Joseph has painted her expression as compared to the art, because the art just looks like a depressed child. And then here you have a woman of, salt who has survived whatever horrors of the Kingdom Death around,
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And like, despite the googliness of this one eye here, like I think that it's got decent directionality, the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I give him the most carry. But I've already said too much. Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually really like the direction of, like you say, the art. He's really tried to put the eyes as though she's stalking or she's watching, and like you say, she's got some gumption about her. I wouldn't want to mess with her. I wouldn't want. Well, that said, in reality,
Well, it all depends on
no.
it all depends on the view. I mean, if you got that view, you're like,
Oh, maybe. Yeah. And then you look
maybe.
at the front, and she's like, "Where you looking at, buddy?"
she got thighs. Thighs. I'll tell you.
Let's put it this way. She's not going to have any trouble when it comes to the end of the 9 months, is she?
No.
Oh, okay, I get the reference now. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. No, I think it's really nice. I love, again, another dynamic pose with these. These are very similar to the other ones, but I agree. The reference picture, it's just that sadness kind of anime look.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually changed it up. He's made it.
I want to call it the sad booby picture.
The sad booby. This is true.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Like if there was a child here, like they'd be like, "It's sad booby lady."
Sad booby lady. That's exactly what comes into a man's head. Yeah. Why are you so sad? Why are you so sad? I mean, you're looking good, love.
What's wrong with them?
They have to survive.
But yeah, no, I think that he's done really well, and I really like the colors that he's chosen. Like, it feels like it pops out at you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you look at it, right, and it's just got, like, this feels like the golden angle here. Like, when you come and look over here, this looks nice, and all of that sort of thing, right? But when you look at the front, you're just like, ooh, she's fierce.
Yeah.
She's not gonna mess around. She's gonna stuff something up, and like it just has
she's the winner.
Just such a great feel to it. Mm-hmm. Great skin work. I think I might echo what you said, but I think maybe the OSL here might be a bit harsh.
Okay, I have to say, but I think for this case is not bad because she is having multiple light sources put together.
Okay.
Which would intensify the light effect in that area. Especially with the previous model. He had 6 lanterns all stacked in one place.
Okay, well, I guess that's fair. That's fair then. Yeah.
So I would say it's not a 2.
Yeah, all right.
It's not as harsh as the other one.
Well,
I really like the stone, the base placement. Again, I've said that a few times tonight, and the stalk in between those two little things, just perfect placement.
Yeah, I think Joseph is sort of the master of basing because it's like I always say that a base needs at least 3 elements, right? And you take a look at this, and there is exactly 3 elements, right? But it doesn't feel like there's too little, nor does it feel like you're not like, well, shouldn't there be something more here? You sort of just like, well, this is how this place is. You just sort of have a feel for it.
Yeah, and I think because it feels very natural because the way he's positioned it, it follows the line of sight.
Ah,
you see that?
Yeah. I guess that's why this is that golden angle.
So that's why it feels correct in the brain. But yeah.
Well, I think we should move on to the next one.
Ooh.
Raina does love us, unlike someone else.
This one, Justin's next girlfriend. Yeah.
I see.
Tell my girlfriend that. Actually, I'll tell my girlfriend David.
Well, like she's always trying to get me into trouble, so now you can know what it's like.
All right, Raina says decided to start on 1:6 figure of Bowser. This is Bowser, okay.
Yeah.
I've had some real lag trying to get photos of other projects since I realized I'm upset with my photo quality pictures. Aiming to fix that. Lots of work yet. Started in hard on Flesh Tones 4-part. Linsanity Lavender, Pro Acryl Burgundy, Scale 75 Harvester, and Reaper Flesh. All makeup brushwork. dry and wet blend plus stipple. She's patchy in spots but happy with the.
All right. Well, you are sort of the one who does all of the sort of stippling build up. What do you think thus far?
I think this is fantastic. Absolutely love this. Really, really has got the right color tones in that lower part of the uh definitely in the lower part of the knees where she's knelt down, and the hands, like, and the I think it's more the areas that it's not stippled. Again, stippling's really difficult, it's slow, but I think that works really well, especially with the scale of the model, because it almost gives like a freckled kind of look,
I agree.
especially in the top half of her, sort of like especially around her shoulders as well. But no, I think this has really captured the highlights in the right places, and especially on the face as well. It works perfectly with the kind of Japanese anime kind of features. I think this is phenomenal stuff. Really, really good. Um,
So I've got a question for the two of you, because you both were saying the same sort of thing about, oh, what a time to forget, a Genuine Vision's work before, saying that you like the two-toneness, but this is all coming up from one color, the very warm colors here, right? That doesn't have this two-toneness. What's the difference here that you guys would say that makes it so it works here, whereas the two-toned worked over there? What's the difference?
Okay, I'll go
I
first.
thi-
Oh, yeah, please go.
yeah, go on. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, usually when we're being taught how to paint skin, the shadow color is usually a sort of purplish or red shadow tone, so that it shows sort of the flesh, the blood coming through. So that's what he's done with the burgundy, which works there. And then once you go towards the top of the flesh, he's used like three different sort of tones and colors there, where you've got like the mid tone. How should I describe? It's more of an orange, and then the highlight is more like a peachy, almost yellow-like tone, right? And skin has many different texture and tones within itself. So I think he's really expressed that very nicely, which shows exactly how variable skin tone is.
But what I'm saying here, right, is so we're all within the warm range here, right? Whereas the other one was two-tone.
Yeah.
Why do you think this works here versus the other area?
Well, when the shadow still is cooler red, and then the
Okay,
highlight
right.
is still sort of pretty warm to nude, I would say. And I don't know how do I, like, the tan, there's a tan color sort of thing, like I don't know how to this peach color between the burgundy peach and then like a light-ish beige tone.
Yeah, I think you've got the burgundy and you've got the lavender, and the burgundy, for me, works more towards the red, and you've got that really deep on the bottom of the legs, and a little bit on the back of the upper arms and the hands. But that lavender, you can almost see it where it kind of transitions from the darker areas, especially the arms on the upper part of the body. So just on the armpits where it comes out, and round. I think that's where the lavender really like kicks in, just kind of like to the left of her breasts and to the right of her breasts. You can see that tone coming out there. Yeah, not so much in the face, and I think that's really clever because it works to keep the contrast in those dark recesses as deep as it can. But I think actually, more I look at it, the more I can see stippling on the highlights, and I think that's what really then, before that light highlight stippling, I think that's where they've got that kind of freckled look almost by putting that over the other tones as opposed to putting that on second. So they've gone dark and then stippled through to light like you would do, and I think that's what's then giving it that freckly effect, and that's what's so helpful with that technique, is that if you take your time and do exactly that and pick those highlights and the arms, the forearms, where that highlight comes all the way down from the top, straight down in quite a defined line. I know there's going to be a little bit of light there from what you can see on the glove, but I think that's really well done, because that's exactly what you would see with that rotation of the form, that straightness. It's worked to kind of like create that almost V on top of those 2 points on the knees that have those very high highlight points. I think it's brilliant. It really does work.
Well, I'm glad that I've got both of you here so that I don't have to say anything. All right. So next up, we've got Neil. Neil McNeil, the Army SEAL.
Yes, Neil McBeal, the Army SEAL. That's the name. I'm only able to do it a bit at a time, but here's my current whip. Tara Sloan from War Machine. Apologies for the lighting. Yeah.
So I think, as he said, is just a work in progress. But I tell you what, for a work in progress, it's looking pretty finished. I know a lot of people would say this is finished, but
yeah, I'm not sure what else he wants to add to this.
I think he wants he wants to layer up and give a bit more texture and such. But Justin, let's hear your thoughts.
Really, yeah, I really like that. Like you said, I would probably say that 99% of people would sit there and go, happy, done with that. But I always think that if you get to a point like that, you should always maybe look at even just one feature. Maybe it's the handle on the gun, or the actual weapon, or the hat, and try and push a little bit further with it, because you'll always improve. But I really like it. I love the colours. I love those robes. I like the layering work on it.
Yeah, it's looking great.
Yeah, the leather work as well on the hat and the gloves.
I really like the gun here. I think that's coming together quite nicely. But yeah, look, as you said, it's a work in progress. It's like I said, I think a lot of people would be finished there, but I think you're doing great. All right. So if anybody wants to be on this show, I guess they should message us. Seems appropriate. So I think we'll move on from that one. All right. Here we go. We get to see Lance getting closer to completion. Let's take a look at it, shall we?
Ooh, he's got some eyebrows.
Ooh.
Getting close to completion. Yeah. Yes. What do we think?
I think it looks
like that.
Yeah, you go, Justin. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry, you're right. I think it's really good. I like the base. I've got to say again, the beige sand base. I might have gone with something different.
I was going to say the exact same thing. You're stealing my thunder here, Justin. Every single time I'm just nodding my head and that's what I was going to say. But yeah, I feel like if this was I feel like this is the opposite of what we're saying with the I'm trying to remember.
The James is all grey.
No, not just James is all grey, but all of the sort of crisis stuff and everything. Just I feel if this was a sort of grey, stony area, to pop out that much more.
Especially a blue tone grey.
Yeah, blue tone grey would be great. This person would be great in sort of a concrete jungle style area. Or even where they would be great, like you were saying before, Justin, asphalt, I think it's called.
Bitumen.
Yeah.
Bitumen.
Asphalt, bitumen are the same, if I'm not.
Yeah, tarmac, bitumen. Yeah.
That sort of black against all of these very light colors, and it would match the head, so you've got that sort of contrast there. But yeah, I think doing great. I feel like I'll just get Justin to do my thing now, because the entire time I'm just sitting there nodding my head, and I'm just like, "Oi, idiot! You can't just nod your head along. People can't see that."
Not at all.
But
not at all, man. Not at all.
But yeah, it looks like we got an update later in the day and added some grass and stuff to it, and I feel like it does look nice, especially with the vase in the background. But
he did that on purpose, I'm sure.
Yeah.
thematic, photography and whatnot.
But once again, I'll let you say my thoughts psychically, Justin. All right, I'll pass them to you now. All right, all right, go. There you go.
Oh god!
You shot him in the head, honey. You shot him in the head.
Big. Oh my god! What am I going to do with it? You said thoughts, right? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I actually, again, it's I see what they're trying to. I see what Lance is trying to do. Definitely see what Lance is trying to do. Add that color to the base, and I think he's picked the color well, especially with that flower on the front, kind of matching the belt around the waist. And I actually think, like, you know, considering the base is a very similar color to the rest of the model, I think that helps it a lot. And the grass just behind the foot kind of gives you that that this angle, especially the golden angle type thing. It contrasts the foot against the grass as well. So I think it works really well, especially with those two aspects added to it. I like the orange on the robes, really, really like that. I don't know if the banding around the wrists, now I think about it, and the feet, they're a bit more of a kind of brown. I know that the brown, and it was more of like a reddy, I suppose, reddy brown, or maybe just a different kind of color to the orange within the tabard, if that would have helped. And then,
you know what might be
I
good?
think that would.
Black wrappings.
Yeah.
Because you'll have the black hair. You'll have the black hair, and you'll have like the black boots, and you got the belt here, and it'll all feel very sort of separated.
Yeah.
You know. But I think that you're like very dark. You know, earthy brown could have worked as well, because like it's quite a light sort of leathery brown at the moment.
Yeah.
And so it does all like have a very sort of warm feel to it.
I agree.
But I think that's about all we can sort of get out of this one. And let's see, just some iron to go, and then they're done. But let's take a look a bit up closer, and we'll see what has changed. If anything. Oh, it looks like that it looks like the scythe's gotten a bit more definition, but it looks like you went in the opposite direction of what you said by adding some texture to it, and it looks like the red got some blends and such, but more work in progress. But I tell you what, I think a lot of people would stop just about here, but of course he's not yet done the lanterns and such, but I know a lot of people would stop well before here. So I think it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. Your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, again, individual kind of choice, really. I would have probably gone for a smoother on the blade. But that said, is the blade stone as opposed to bone?
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, you might be right on that. Yeah, stone and bone.
Yeah, I still think a little bit of stippling, not so much on the teeth, but on the bone handle there, could just maybe differentiate between that. But if they're going to go with OSL, then fantastic. And actually, now looking at it, I think a bit of a glaze. I love glazes. I know it can seem tedious because you're not getting anywhere very quickly, but a real kind of almost like a purpley red glaze towards the edges of those cloaks, just on the very edges.
Oh, okay. Right down here, you know. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, no.
I agree.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah.
Something like the Bowsette, where you have a little bit of like a purplish shadow to go with the red. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
It would be good.
Yeah, that could be real nice. But knowing Justin, it's probably finished just up a bit further. All right, so we got Andy here, and let's take a look at what Andy's got. Would you like to read for Andy?
Sorry. little bit confused. Okay, no, yeah, okay. I'm here. Mixing it up. I can never have just one project on the go. Grabbed this off the shelves off backlog and did some base coats on it this evening. Still a long way to go, and it's a chunky piece, taking a while. But it's definitely more painted now than it was before, and that's an improvement. It's looking pretty nice. Like it.
What was that voice?
I don't know. It's
I like it a lot.
It's nice.
Yeah, yeah. She's decided to enter the British underworld. A lot. Yeah, it's great, mate.
A lot. Yeah, love it. Great,
Yeah.
That's love it.
Yeah.
Real
Wicked, mate. Wicked.
Got a good head.
Jungle is savage.
Got a good head.
Jungle is master.
Well, Justin, it's your turn to commentary.
Yeah, this is I don't know, something about orcs. Never painted an orc in my life. I think I painted maybe some with a set of washes that my dad gave me when I was like 6-7 years old, instead of paint from Athena, when like Games Workshop was not even, it was just Citadel really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like this. Really like that tealy kind of green that's going on with the skin here, actually. A lot of people go for like a very dark green and then highlight it up. I think that can look a little bit matte. But that kind of tealy, bluey green, I think that's going to look great.
I will give one warning on that, though. Like, it's that sort of blue-green into a much lighter green. Like, I know that this is just a whip and we're seeing the beginning stages, but one of the biggest issues I see with this is when it's this color. You know that very particular blue-green that's highlighted up into a yellow, and I call it dinosaur toy green. You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, Sunny's nodding her head along right here, doing what I was doing while you're talking. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's I can see it going towards almost like a Zench kind, not a Zench, like a I can't remember the name of them now. It's Zench. It's the Chaos Araman and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, and Temple Guard blue and stuff, like the really lighter blues. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's different. It is different to what I would see orc wise, but yeah, really love the. I mean, the model that's amazing. The nice colours. You've got the red, the green. The bone looks really nice. There's a lot of bone to work on there. So I think concentrate on the shaft, the leather, and those horns on the top will be fantastic. That cape's going to be. Well, it's going to be a lot of work, but again, like very small stippling on that cape would work, or even small lines to give it a fur appearance.
Like when I look at something that big, I just think to myself, dry brushing.
Yeah, I was thinking dry brushing too.
Just not because you're wrong about stippling, but because like that looked like too much work for stippling. I'm just like, just dry brush it and be done. Like I feel so tired looking at it.
I feel like if it was stippling right, if you use the fan brush and you just sort of drag some lines along, that'll create like
like overbrushing.
Yeah, and that will create like the illusion of hair strands, hair's texture. If you wanted to do it
all
that
I know is if the good old Bob Ross got out a fan brush, he'd make us all look like amateurs in seconds. We'll just do up some fur right here, and now it's all done.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what?
It's like, no, go back a second. I need to understand this bit.
It's so
all right,
far.
so we're going to see if there's any new posts. It's James. So James has been working away. I've been very busy this week. Well, he's not wrong.
Between sleep and work. Very important.
Yeah, it looks like James has just thrown down the gauntlet to Joseph, and he's just like,
I challenge ye.
Yeah.
To be the next hobby hero. I will be the next #1 hero.
All right, so let's hear your thoughts, Justin.
Yeah, I like these. I can see the product line. Green and blue is. I think green and blue is always hard to pull off, to be honest. But he split that well with the brown. I don't know about the like box art or that kind of story behind it at all, really. But yeah, I like him. I like him again. Like kept it. Don't know what it's going to do with the base. If it's going to
Yeah.
keep, it looks like a sandy kind of like maybe grey or a sandy color. Keep that like that. Like the contrast on the faces as well. Can't be easy to do. They look quite small, those figures. So
I think they're sort of similar size to Warhammer models from what I've seen, but
they're not very chunky.
They're not very chunky. Yeah, they're much more. They're not heroic scale at all. I think they're much more realistically size scaled.
Yeah.
And
Imperial Guard kind of. They remind me a lot of that. So.
Speaking of which, I guess it's time for us to see if we've got any long-time loyal viewers. We showed a surprise last time, and Justin got to see all of this, so I guess you guys should as well. We have been going hard when it comes to those prints we showed before. So we're trying to get the scale right, and we'd love your thoughts. So currently, here we go. I think maybe even 115 might be right.
It looks fine, like 115 on here, but I feel that painting it's gonna be a bit of a pain in the butt. I think our original idea of 125 is still
125.
best.
She's a bit taller than a Space Marine.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes to that, I think that she shouldn't be taller than a Space Marine.
Then 120, I think.
120?
Yeah,
Let's see, 120, she's still taller than a Space Marine.
Just by slightly. That much.
Well, Justin, what are your thoughts on our lovely Fumiko?
Love the sculpt. Like, love the work that you've done there. It reminds me of one that I got for an Eldar, actually, who was holding, like, I don't know if you've seen the Warhammer Dawn of War kind of short videos for Dawn of War 2, I think. And she's like holding up like a sphere to the sky and like a lance in the other hand. But it's really, really nice. I think scale wise, I haven't looked at it again. I know everybody sort of like says Space Marine. But yeah, I think like the 115, 120 would probably work.
Mm-hmm.
Scaled against a lot of other things. 120 seems to work. And like you say, it makes it just that little bit easier to paint maybe. But I think at that scale, the difference between 115 and 120 is going to be negligible, really.
Yeah,
it
will be much of a muchness, but like I feel like 115 is much more because like this is a Warhammer lady, this is a Sister of Silence, and I think the head is from Victory Miniatures or something. I've forgotten their name. As I was about to say, it's like not Scribblor. What was it? It was Well, I'll remember it the minute that I turn this stream off. That's for sure. Yeah, like she seems very sort of scale appropriate here. Like that these two women could sort of be quite similar. Like if she was standing tall rather than legs spread wide, I think like she'd be very similar.
Watcher says, I think if you go smaller than 120, you will lose too much detail. Go bigger than 130, add more.
I think he might be right on that one, but like I feel like 115, 120 is about the right area because we increased to 150 with our first sort of attempt, and then we're like, whoa, okay. But yes, yeah.
But it would be easier to paint it, like nicer to paint.
But
bottom.
that was going to be one of our things. We were going to sort of make a painter's scale and a player's scale.
Mm.
And
Because like some people are like you, Justin, who would just like to have the models for the painting of things and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's what we're going to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed that preview. But Justin, I will ask what I have asked the last guests each time. Is there anything that's going on in the hobby, or anything that you think the hobby, like the hobby community, needs to know about? Is there anything that's not being talked about that you think should be being talked about?
I think I worry. The only thing I worry about, I think, is that there's been a bit of a bubble with the hobby over the last few years with COVID and everybody getting back into it and finding their stuff. Two things that worry me about the hobby are scalping is one of them. I
Yeah.
still see it. I know people say it's not happening, but like the new Deathwing Assault going out for pre-order and stuff, that just I think there's a lot of hype from GW as well and other people saying, "Oh, you're not going to be able to get hold of it. You got to pre-order it," and then there's so much of it. It's they know they've got the capacity to fill demand, but I kind of get from a business point of view. That's something they need to do. But the scalpers, like I hate seeing that. I hate seeing people like buying split boxes. It's like buying and splitting businesses. I think that's still an issue, even though people say it probably isn't. No, the bubble. I think I'd love, like my daughter loves doing this, my son loves doing this. I think there has to be like a generational thing passing it down, because you don't see airfix being made as much these days by people. It's more moved towards things like this. And it sits, although it's seen as less geeky, I suppose, when I was a kid, people used to sort of like laugh at me for doing it. Now I think it is actually seen as quite niche. But yeah, I do worry that it's going to bubble and burst at some, not burst, but bubble and like, expand and contract, expand and contract. Yeah, because I just see like Warhammer, like Games Workshop chucking out lots and lots of different things, and it's changed a lot with the lore. I mean, I'm massively into Warhammer more than anything else, but Primarch's coming back in the stories and everything, and I don't know. I'm thinking maybe in a year or two's time, is that going to suddenly decrease? People are going to lose their interest, and then we're really going to have to push to get this into the next generation of kids, really. Because look at, there's VR, there's loads of things.
Justin, I have to say, this entire review, you've been saying pretty much my thoughts spot on, because, like, when I was talking about trying to get those votes for the young buds and that sort of thing, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, we need to encourage the next generation. Like, when we had Warhammer Dad on here, and we've got Rory, who's talked about very sort of similar things, and I think the reason why it sort of struck a chord is because it's true. I think a lot of people sort of, like, they can't articulate it, and that's when I know that something's up, right? Where people are desperate to articulate something, but they can't. And I think maybe we'll have a go at trying to make a video about it, but I think that you're right. It's a sort of undercurrent, and I think that it goes across the pricing, and it also goes across the fact that I think that the hobby is shrinking by age.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like all of the hobbyists I know, right? There's so few new hobbyists, right? Like, you never It's never like, oh, there's a whole bunch of young guys, right? When it comes to a lot of the young guys, they're they're often much more like really into the game, or they're
Yeah.
really into some other aspect, right? And it seems as if like Warhammer is scratching a different kind of itch. It's like how when the Star Wars fans come into the miniatures games, you know that they're
Mm.
not hobbyists. Like, I'm not knocking on Star Wars miniatures or the people who paint them, right? But you know that they're Star
Yeah.
Wars fans first.
Yeah. 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 I
Yeah.
think I think one of the things that does what I see games work well. I go on about GW and that, but what I think that brings us back to what we were talking about before we started, and actually during with the kind of contrast paints. I think they've made the contrast paints because it appeals to, like, they know that the diehard fans are the diehard fans. They know that
Yeah.
I'm going to walk in there and buy what I want to buy. I'm not going to walk in there and buy a new army every week, you know.
Yeah.
So they have to cater for that. But they're not. I don't think Games Workshop are trying to cater for us. They're trying to cater for the five other people that walk in the store and buy
Yeah.
that starter set, buy those paints, so they can paint the army up, come back in, play, and get on the tabletop really quickly. And I think that's what they're doing with the contrast paints. And that again, you know, you can bring someone into the store who's never had, old, young, doesn't matter, whatever demographic, give them some contrast paints, and they can have 20 models painted within 20 minutes. Whereas, you know, other people will look at that and go, well, that's just a base, and that's part one of 20 stages of painting.
Yeah.
So, and that gets them hooked, and then they want to come back in, and they've made, say, five people buy 50, £100 worth of merchandise, whereas you're going to walk in there as one person and buy £50. So I get the business aspect, and I don't like it, but it's the real world we live in.
Yes. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as they still cater for us, then yeah. But I think that's where it comes to the legacy from, you know, parents to children, I think, and communities. That's where we need to kind of really keep it
Yeah.
going. And I don't think it'll vanish.
I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on. I think like like from parents to children, and I think like unfortunately, and we desperately avoid politics, as you may have noticed. But I think unfortunately that's a part of the age that we're living in. There's a lot less
Yeah.
families with kids, so maybe it's not so much Games Workshop's fault, but just
The reality of things.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, have to take responsibility for it, don't we? As people who enjoy the hobby and things,
yeah,
yeah, and it's not something you can pick up really quickly. Well, you can pick up really quickly, but I think a lot of the time, like it used to be, we weren't saturated with things. You couldn't jump online and, like you said, change in the world and learn in 30 minutes everything there is to know about Warhammer 40k. But someone's got a video out there telling you about it. Now, in the years gone by, you'd have to go around your mates, you'd have to get like the latest White Dwarf, you'd have to
Yeah.
read it, you know, you'd have to talk to your friends, you'd have to go to the
but to be
D&D
fair on
group.
that one, I mean, if somebody cancelled plans back in the day, they'd be a social pariah. But somebody sends a text these days.
Oh, like we've had. Sorry, I'm just gonna say this before I continue my point. Watcher agrees 100% with everything being said, and yeah, we've had you know, some new friends that we are trying to make with the community and play games with, and we've been cancelled on the day of.
Yeah.
On the day of,
But
just a few hours before we are going down, and
but like I don't think that that's unique. Unfortunately, I think like that's sort of the state of play, shall we say? And I think unfortunately maybe like some of the things that we're seeing is a lot larger than the hobby, and we try to be broad with it, but like I feel like perhaps we're all preaching to the choir here, because like we all pretty much agree with what everyone else says. So what I want to say is, Justin, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
I like the
Well,
telepathic link that we have where you say the things that I think. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Shall we
Really enjoyed it.
finish it off, and I'll count us in.
Yeah,
All right.
remember, you have to say it too.
Yes. All
you
right.
have to say it too.
All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Keep those brushes wet. Bye bye.
Too late. You lose the game.
Bye, bro.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.